With our presenters, we have Mr. Shawn Vargas, is a macro practice social worker with concentrations in clinical, community, and policy practice. He has been employed as a public officer since 2001, first at the Ministry of Human Development in both child protection and community and parent empowering programs or units. At the Ministry of Human Development, he served 14 years in various capacities and represented the ministry in several regional and international conferences. Shawn is known for his work in community, early childhood development, and child protection. He introduced, sought funding, and implemented the Roving Caregivers program in the Toledo district and Southside Belize City. He is also responsible for professional and personal development training for the entire Department of Human Service in the Ministry of Human Development. In 2014, Shawn was transferred to the Ministry of the Public Service in the capacity as coordinator for the Employee Assistance Program. This relatively new program serves the entire public service that is countrywide and focuses on the well-being, mental health, and welfare of public officers. Belize is among 4 Caribbean countries who own and operate their EAPs. In this capacity, Shawn has since provided countless hours of consultation to regional partners regarding the implementation and operation of government EAPs. Shawn is an advocate for mental health in the workplace and providing the necessary psychosocial support for families and children. It's a pleasure to have Mr. Vargas with us.
Good morning, everyone. And thanks very much, Mr. Oliveira, for the introduction. So I am here tasked to discuss with you stress on the overall work performance and services available for public officers within the public service and in relations to mental health and mental wellness. So I'll start off with what exactly is the EAP. It's relatively new, and I will still use the word relative because we have been about 6 years, but it's a program offered with intent to help employees deal with personal problems that might adversely affect their health, work performance, and well-being. So this is government's role in taking care of their public officers. This program is available countrywide for all public officers from the lowest to the highest point on the pay scale. So there's no level of discrimination, and everyone who wants this service, this is available for you. The policy was approved by Cabinet in 2014, and in 2015 it was launched. It has been 6 years, as I've mentioned before, and since then to now, we have seen just about 1,000 public officers and their families, and we include families in this process because it is important for us to deal with the family unit and not just the public officer who is employed with the government. We have extended the services of EAP from within that perspective to what we have looked at with debt. Initially, for public officers, when you pass on or die in harness, you get your REIT and what's not that comes along with it. But now there's a service, there's an actual service that is provided for families. Families are members of the deceased. So government of Belize, St. Lucia, and Jamaica, including Trinidad, are the only CARICOM countries who own and operate their EAP. So we are smacking there. This reference is important for mental health and of public servants within these 3 countries or 4 countries. This is huge because this is not an area that is much admired within the practice, because we always tend to look at mental health with a level of stigma. And it is important for us to focus on this. So investing in our public officers, investing in their mental health is a very important component for the public service. And Belize is among the 4 other countries that are leading this way. So what I did, I went back since we started in 2015, since we implemented the program, and I condensed some of our numbers to bring to you 4 major referrals or presenting problems. In social work practice, we refer to as presenting problems. 4 major referrals. And so year by year, it shows where there is a component of alcoholism, stress, marital challenges, and depression. And if we link all those 4 together, we can see where that aspect is important, because the stress component is pronounced. So in 2015, the highest referral or major referral to our unit was stress. 2016, same thing with stress. And 2015 is important because 2015 was an election year for public officers. 2017, if we look at the graph again, you can see the height of stress, the stress levels for public officers, the referral component. In 2018, we could see that it is increasing, the number of referrals are increasing, and stress is again leading that component. Now we look at 2019. 2019, the numbers tipped a little, and stress still controlled that component for public officers. And 2020, this was a very difficult year for us as public officers. Some of us had the opportunity to stay home. Some of us had to return to work. Some of us who use public transportation with all the unknowns of COVID, that was a very challenging time. And we had a significant number of public officers who reported or referred because of stress-related component that's very, very difficult for them to deal with and cope with. So this was also the time the EAP started working along with our practitioners. We consulted with our folks within the region, our partners within the region, specifically St. Lucia and Jamaica, and we tried the teletherapy services. At this point, it is still working. We continued with the teletherapy. We are continuing with teletherapy. And this was how we reached a number of public officers in 2020 because of the pandemic. And we started moving into group therapy because departments and ministries had difficulty coping with this new adjustment. And so we had to let them know that, okay, all of us are in here in this together, and we're working towards better. We're working towards the best that we could pull forward. We are working towards what is important for us as public officers. And that is part of the working with groups. So we did a lot of group therapy online. We utilized our practitioners with Zoom and the other platforms to move towards the teletherapy services that we provide. And 2021 now is bringing its new challenges, because public officers are again at this point. And if you look at the graph, we're at the first quarter of 2021, and the referrals are significant. The depression component and the stress component for 2021, it's already significant for 2021, and merely we're still at that component of COVID. We're all back at work. Basically, we're all back at work, but we are on this component of salary deduction, a salary cut. So public officers know the level of anxiety and stress is significant, because how am I going to care for my family? How am I going to provide for my home with this portion of the money missing? Some of us, that's what we're taking home, that 10%. And so that process now, that coping process is becoming very difficult for us. So we're making an effort, we're reaching out to public officers. I can tell you that within the last 3 to 4 weeks, at our office, we have seen a significant referral, an increase in numbers when it comes to anxiety, and especially the panic disorder, because people are worried about what's going to happen. after the salary deduction. It's not really a wait and see game, but we have to prepare. We have to prepare for this process. And coupled with that, the increase in depression and alcoholism. And that's the easiest thing for us to go to, because Belize is we're a beautiful country. We're a beautiful country that supports the consumption of alcohol at every event, even at your regular family gathering. So some of us who know how to control it don't have an issue with it. But some of us who take this thing for medicinal purposes, now it becomes difficult. So we are looking at the trend so far, the increase in alcohol consumption, the increase in referrals for stress, and the significant number of cases regarding depression and anxiety within the service. So those are things that's just jumping out, and I decided to go back and pull some of the figures to show you guys as to what we are dealing with, especially when it comes to this process. So our significant source. You heard me mention before that everyone who has whoever held a job at some point felt the pressure of work-related stress. And that's eminent. You can't run away from that. You can't run away from what is work-related. Unfortunately, such long-term stress is all too common. And it doesn't matter what area you're working or what level of employment do you have, you cannot get away from that component of stress at work. In fact, within the Belize Public Service, as cited above, work is a significant source of stress for a majority of the public officers. So, and some of the things that we don't know how to do, we don't know how to separate or detach work from home. Whether you're stressed at home and you go to work and you carry that there and it's increased there, or the stress from work, you take it home and it increases also, it adds to it. So we don't know how to detach. Some of us, we just have to learn to put down our phone, put down our books, put down our bag, put down the computer, and just tune out. Plug out what was and pay attention to what is. So that's the important component there. And what we have seen as some of the common stressors at work, and it pulls to the point that we're all humans and we all have needs and there are expectations that are involved. So few opportunities for growth. Imagine you're in the service or you're employed, wherever you are at, and you're at the third layer and you only have 2 layers ahead of you. Few opportunities for growth. Or you're at this component or this level of employment and you've been there 10 years and you can't go higher and your salary is stopped at a point. So you think about all these things that brings additional stress. Low salaries. When I used to do presentations for career day, I always tell students, if you think coming into the social work field is going to make you a whole bunch of money, think again. Because it doesn't work that way, not with us. You have excessive workload, but your salary is small. It's no secret that we have social workers, graduates from the University of Belize with their bachelor's degree and they're on pay scale 6 and pay scale 9. It's outright unacceptable. But that is some of the challenges that we work with. And then because we're resilient people, social work practice teaches us to be resilient, we work with this process and provide the best for our clients. So work that isn't engaging or challenging. Some of us are underemployed. Imagine you have a university degree and you're employed as a records clerk. All you do all day is to file. File. That brings it one level of stress for you and level of motivation is not there. So conflicting demands for unclear performance and expectation. As public officers, there is something at the end of all of our job description that It's clear for everyone to see, and other duties assigned from time to time. And that is always used as the saving grace for managers and administrators. Other duties assigned from time to time. You're at this peak, you're ready to leave, and something comes up, and this is given to you. You can't fight it, it's insubordination. Your job description says other duties assigned from time to time. So how do you deal with this? You're already overworked and underpaid. And so you see why the unit has recorded a significant number of stress referrals since its implementation. Lack of support and political pressure, especially at this time. We call the elections are over, but there's still a significant level of political pressure on public officers. And we are the ones who are taking the brunt of it because we have to produce, we have to look at numbers. We have to make sure that you are doing well. But the support is limited because of budgetary constraints. So how do you perform? And as social workers, we know what to do, even though we're told not to take out of your pocket. But when we have to serve our clients, we need to dip into our pocket. We need to get what is necessary for them. Even if it's just a bottle of water, a glass of juice along that road. That's a process. And bullying, this is something that we don't talk about. But we have a lot of bullying taking place in the workforce. Especially with the time of COVID right now, a lot of people are being bullied. A number of officers are being bullied. And this is not coming from lower level, this is coming from your immediate supervisor. Because these things are used or held against you, especially when it comes to appraisal time. And so the outlet for you now is what? Finding the best approach. But we need our income. So we have to control the way we snap. We control the way we respond. So limited to no control over job-related decisions. And I've heard this component, especially from those within the medical profession, the medical field, and human development, those from Ministry of Education. Policies are set in place. Your job is to do it. With no consultation any at all. So these are things that comes to us where individuals have to look at these things and cope with this process on a daily basis. Part of our workforce has to do with our uniform organizations. And this is also a component for them. The number of police officers who were infected with COVID. Over 300 police officers. And it's because of policies that were put in place, limited to no control over job-related decisions. And that is important. So the effects of uncontrolled stress in the workplace, two things that jumped out immediately: absenteeism or excessive tardiness. And the way the regulations spell these things out, these things lead to dismissal, hauled in front of the commission. But a stressful work environment leading to chronic stress, compounding the problem. People who experience excess stress often deal with unhealthy ways. Binging. Spoke about the level of alcoholism since what we have seen since January of this year to now. Unhealthy eating, and to get on the good side of unhealthy eating, we call it comfort food. So you don't feel bad that you eat your fried chicken or your fried this and you're full of carbs, this and all of that. We call it comfort food. So that makes you feel a little bit better. Smoking or using or abusing drugs. So uncontrolled stress in the workplace. We have this tendency, we get to work, oh, we have headache. We have headaches, but we're not linking what we're doing to the constant headache. Sleep disturbances. Some of us, we go home and we're worried about clients, we're worried about what is supposed to be done for the following day. You can't sleep. Because whether it's excitement or your stress levels, it makes it very difficult for us to focus. The anxiety and insomnia, those are common things that we pay attention to, that we see. And because we binge, obesity. What I have seen though, since 2020, that a number of persons are making effort to get into an exercise routine, which helps this process. High blood pressure and depression. So this is just a sum of what the uncontrolled stress in the workplace leads to. So services available to support public officers. And this leads me back to my initial point at the top. Why is this important for us to discuss? Simple. For any organization, whether government, NGO, or within any private sector, if you don't take care of your human capital, you are bound to fail. Just like that, you are bound to fail. Because you can't have workers and expect that you are not supposed to take care of their needs. Until very recently, the mental health needs of the general population have been, for one reason or another, largely ignored. Previously, the focus of the mental health community was on those critical diagnoses or conditions so severe that it impeded their day-to-day participation in the workplace. So that was the only way, as public officers or as employed persons, you could have gotten your attention. Now, because of the Employee Assistance Program, if you are willing, this is a voluntary program. If you are willing, you know that there is something wrong. You just need that outlet. We are available for you. We are available for you. Our target population is limited to the public service. We are available for you. So it moved from that point of view, that physical component, as we can see, we can identify there is something wrong, to the component where we pay attention to the emotional, to your emotional character. Where you as an individual, or we as the service, have to take care of our internal customers. So what is it that we have to offer? The Ministry of the Public Service, Constitution and Political Reform owns and operates its own EAP. So we have a cadre of practitioners. A cadre of practitioners ranging from clinical counselors, clinical social workers, multicultural family therapists, psychiatrists. We brought over one psychiatrist. We negotiated with a psychiatrist, and she's now on our team. And so she services public officers within Belmopan and Belize City. So we have behavioral therapists, and added to our listing now, and I am sure they're going to get busy shortly, 2 financial specialists. Because we need to look at our own financing now with this pending 10% deduction. So we have to rearrange, and public officers need to look at this. So part of what the ministry has to provide, we also ensure that the mental health unit is a part of our program. Very vital to the support of the EAP, the team of PNPs and the government psychiatrists. So what we at this unit looks at, we look out for the welfare of public officers. We know the importance of having human capital as priority, and we make every effort to bring the attention that is necessary to the public service. So with that short presentation, I want to say thank you guys very much. Thank you to the university for this opportunity. And my contact information is here for you guys.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Vargas. I was looking at the chat. If there is any question for you, thank you. Let us see if there's and the feedback is wonderful. It's somebody said people need to shine light on this issue. We have changed just a little bit from the issue of children to adults, bearing in mind that many of these adults have children as well. So the compounding of the situation, really, I hope that we can make those connections. But great presentations. I am not seeing any questions for you. Thank you so much, more than anything, gratitude. But we want to be able to shed some light on the sponsors, Mr. Vargas. Okay. And I don't know if you have figured a question. We want to give away, so we want you to participate. The first, we want to give you. This is what we'll give you from Jador Boutique, a gift certificate, and $50 from Digicel. So you will have that gift certificate from Jador Boutique and $50 if you answer the question that will be posed by Mr. Vargas correctly. So please, Mr. Vargas, go ahead.
Okay, so I mentioned 4 countries in 4 CARICOM countries who own and operate their employee assistance program. So if anyone can give me the 4 countries.
That's up to you, the 4.
Yes, that one right there. If anyone can give me the 4 countries.
All right. So if you can provide the 4 countries where we have an EAP program, you will be able to, so we'll be able to win a gift certificate from Jador Boutique and $50 courtesy of Digicel. I think that's probably a tough question, Mr. Vargas, but the prize is worth it. So of course, I'm just kidding, right? So we have a first response here from Nazira. She said St. Vincent, Tobago, St. Lucia, and Belize.
No, not St. Vincent.
Not St. Vincent.
Not
okay,
St.
you heard
Vincent.
it. St. Lucia, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, and Belize.
Yes, that's the one right there.
Okay, so we have a winner. Don't go ahead. Don't go yet, Mr. Vargas. So we have a winner. Marta, can you please record this? Yeah, that's Mr. Miguel Eco is the winner for a gift certificate from Jador Boutique and $50 courtesy of Digicel. No, we are bringing up the stakes a little bit more. We want to give away a ticket for one to Kikaka, courtesy of Belize, San Pedro Belize Express Water Taxi. And also we'll give you $50 courtesy Digicel. So go ahead with your question, Mr. Vargas.
Okay, so the question is then, with the effects of uncontrolled stress in the workplace, what are 2 of the most common things that we see?
Okay.
The effects of uncontrolled stress in the workplace, what are 2 of the most common things we have seen?
Okay, we have a first answer here by Marley Castillo, absenteeism and tardiness.
Yes.
Okay, I could
There we
guess that
go.
one. Marley Castillo, we are happy to tell you that you won a ticket for one to Key Cocker and $50 courtesy from Digicel. Thank you, Marley. Mr. Vargas, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much to Mr.
Keep up what you
Oliveira.
do. Excellent. You know, human capital is such an awesome thing that we need to not lose sight of. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.